Hello, welcome to Ceejayceesmotivation. Today in this video we are going to discuss emotional resilience. Discover the tools to achieve more. Emotional resilience. Discover the tools to achieve more. So, why is it so important for you to gain control over your emotional states? It is believed by many experts that emotional resilience is the number one key to success. The number one key to success, not education and not conventional intelligence. You see, we have many less educated, less intelligent people who have mastered the ability to use their emotions rather than being used by them, and these people have gone on to achieve far more things. Studies have found that resilience even results in better health. Jan Bruce wrote in her Forbes article, and this is what she wrote. A recent study on the correlation between resilience and key health and productivity measures found that resilience is the foundation of success and possibility, with high levels of resilience significantly correlating with better health status, higher job satisfaction, morale, and productivity, and lower stress. So with all these benefits mentioned, why wouldn't you want to develop your emotional resilience? Why does it really matter to develop emotional resilience? Now, why does it mean? What does it actually mean? Let's look at what it means. What does it actually mean to master your emotional resilience or to master your emotions? First of all, let's start with what it is not. Emotional mastery does not refer to the stifling or denial of emotions. Also, the goal of building emotional strength or emotional resilience is not to make every situation in life happy and rosy or happy clappy. No, that's not the end. That's not the goal. In fact, the human experience is inherently loaded with unavoidable ups and downs. Emotional resilient people who are no longer held back by limiting emotions, no matter how tempting, achieve more success in every area of life. They can handle the vulnerabilities of intimate relationships, the risks and failures of business, and the ups and downs of life. Eric Greitens wrote in the National Review, and this is what he said. Resilience is the virtue that enables people to move through hardship and become better. No one escapes pain, fear, and suffering. Yet from the pain can come wisdom. From the fear can come courage. From the suffering can come strength, if we have the virtue of resilience. And then Mind Tools wrote this. Resilience is our ability to adapt and bounce back when things don't go as planned. Resilient people don't wallow or dwell on failures. They acknowledge the situation, learn from their mistakes, and then move forward. Now we start without wasting time. Let's begin to look at some of the tools. Number one tool. Resilient people acknowledge their emotions, accept responsibility for them, and they go on to interpret the positive intentions of their emotions. You see, the process begins with the honest acknowledgement of every emotion you experience. Whatever it is, fear, joy, jealousy, loneliness, allow yourself to feel it without any attempt to push it away or change it. Accept that for the moment, the emotion you are feeling is your reality. This gives you the opportunity to take careful inventory of every feeling you encounter and move on to make a positive change. Let's look at an example. Imagine that someone has said something hurtful to you. Naturally, your first reaction is to feel hurt. What happens next, however, depends on your past experiences, your personality, and your current situation. So I ask you, what feelings have you been suppressing? What is causing those feelings? And what do you need to do to free yourself from them? You see, when it comes to our emotions, and this is the truth, we generally tend to play the victim. We tend to, behave as if we are completely helpless. The truth is that we actually can choose how we feel. But we can't do that until we stop letting others control us and accept responsibility for our own emotions. Accept the fact that the only reason you are feeling the way you do is because you allowed yourself to feel that way. Let's wrap this up. Looking at it in a nutshell. Let's look at what most people do. Let's start with non-resilient people. Non-resilient people, they hide and suppress their emotions. They blame others for how they feel. They do not look for positive intentions of their emotions. On the other hand, let's see what emotional resilient people do. They do it differently. Resilient people acknowledge their emotions. They accept responsibility for their emotions, and they learn to interpret the positive intentions of their emotions. Tool number 2. Resilient people use focus to consistently control meaning. You see, the reason we are programmed to react a certain way to certain events is because our brain takes the stimuli and attaches meaning to them. The meaning we attach to events are largely defined by experiences we have had or our beliefs or the beliefs we hold. And this causes us to feel a certain emotion, which then results in a behavior. If you were to change the meaning you attach to the stimulus, then it is possible that you can produce an entirely different emotions and result in behavior. You are the one in control here, no other person, and not circumstance. The sooner you understand that, the sooner you can begin to take advantage of that control and change your life for better. Can you think of an event in the past that triggered you to have a negative emotional response? Why did you respond the way you did? What kind of meaning did you attach to the event? Let's look at how you can adjust meaning by adjusting your focus. You see, your focus is where your attention goes, and it's very important. You see, I have really learned in life that as a universal principle, people tend to get more of whatever they have set their focus on. See, let's look, for example, if you focus on how great your life is, you will begin to notice more great things in your life. If you decide to focus on the business opportunities available in your community, you will begin to see opportunities that you would have missed before. On the other hand, if you focus on what you are lacking in your life, you begin to notice a lot of more areas of your life where you are lacking. So by shifting your focus to something more positive and productive, you actually make it easier for yourself to assign positive meanings when you encounter less than ideal circumstances. So in a nutshell, non-resilient people allow life to direct their focus. Non-resilient people focus on things that put them into disempowering emotional states. On the other hand, resilient people consciously control the meaning of events by directing their focus, and resilient people focus on things that put them into empowering emotional states. Let's look at what Jeffrey James said. Jeffrey James said, most people live lives of quiet desperation because they focus on things that they cannot control, outside events, stuff that can happen in the past, and what other people are thinking. As a result, they fail to focus on what they can control: their own belief, their own attitude, their own emotions, and their own behavior. That is Jeffrey James. Okay, let's move on to tool number 3. Tool number 3 says, resilient people manage their self-talk and inner movies. They manage their self-talk and inner movies. You can agree with me, we watch movie internally every day, where we hear, don't freak out now, we hear voices. Something is talking to our head every day, Okay, so when we experience an event, look at what happens. Our brain creates internal representation using 3 primary 5 senses. The visual, which is the things we see; the auditory, that is the speech and other things you hear; and the kinesthetic, that means the things you feel physically or emotionally. So when you find yourself in a negative emotional state, let's say, for example, you are angry. Let's take anger, for example. Let's look at it closely and see, what happens. When you are angry, take a close look at what is going on inside your head. You will soon realize a few things. Number 1, you are seeing an image or picture or movie in your head that makes you angry. Number 2, you are saying certain things to yourself that make you angry. Oh, how could she do this to me? How dare he talk to me or treat me that way? You are saying something to yourself. You may even be hearing the other person saying that thing, the certain things that make you angry. Those things they said, they are just repeating continually or continuously in your head. Chances are probably you are repeating the hurtful words over and over. Number 3, you may even be able to feel the other person's physical touch or feel the vibes or emotions they project like disrespect or arrogance. That is why people are, sometimes are able to say things like, I just feel she hated me. I just feel she hates me. Or I just, get a sense that he doesn't really like me. You can feel it. I just feel, when I walked into the room, I could feel it. You are having that feeling. So let's look at it in a nutshell. Non-resilient people, they relive negative experiences over and over again in their head. On the other hand, the resilient people take control of their self-talk and inner movies. Resilient people break the hold of negative events by scrambling their internal representations. And resilient people amplify desired emotions using visual, auditory, and kinesthetic controls. Dean Becker wrote in Harvard Business Review, and this is what he said: more than education, more than experience, more than training, a person's level of resilience will determine who succeeds and who fails. That's true in the cancer world, and that is true in the Olympics, and that is true in the boardroom. I repeat it, that is true in the cancer world, in the hospitals, and that is true in the Olympics, and that is true in the boardroom. Okay, let's take one more. We have many tools, but I just want to give you about 4 tools. If you want more, you can get in touch with me. Tool number 4, resilient people understand the power of questions. Your thoughts throughout the day are driven by questions that you ask yourself. These questions drive your mental energy, whether you are aware of them or not. Let's take a look at a few questions that might sound familiar to you. Some people will say, why does my boss never respect me? Or some people say, why is it that this person he's never on time? Another will say, well, why did I deserve this? Some people say, oh, why is life so unfair? And you can even say, why me? Why me? When things happen. You see, questions like these essentially set you up for negativity. Even though these are loaded questions that contain untrue assumptions or presuppositions about yourself and other people, your brain will work hard to find an answer that fits regardless of whether it is true or not. You see, what happens when you ask certain questions, especially negative questions, what happens is that your brain will get to work to begin to find answers, to your question, to make it fit, whether it is true or not. Okay, let's look at just the first question. When you ask yourself, why does my boss or spouse or friend, never respect me? The presupposition is that they never appreciate you. Your brain isn't going to challenge that presupposition unless your brain has been conditioned or trained to do so. And that is the essence of emotional resilience mastery. Moreover, because you ask your brain a question, it will be compelled to come up with answers, even though they may not be accurate. Here is another example. Sometimes people ask themselves, not me. They said, why am I such an idiot? Obviously, the presupposition here is that you are, in fact, an idiot. Unfortunately, once you ask yourself this question, your brain will come up with reasons to prove your idiocy. Can you think of some of the negative assumption-filled questions that you ask yourself on a daily basis? Are they leading you to unfair or untrue conclusions about yourself and others? So let's round it up. Non-resilient people never pay attention to their thoughts and questions. Non-resilient people never challenge questions with disempowering presuppositions. Non-resilient people ask questions that put them into unresourceful states. On the other hand, resilient people understand the power of questions. Resilient people challenge limiting, disempowering presuppositions. And resilient people ask questions with empowering presuppositions that lead their life in more positive directions. Let's look at these two great people, what they said, and we will conclude on this video. Beverly Boston said, "Did you know that every successful entrepreneur and executive has one thing that they share in common? They all have a strong and solid level of emotional resilience. Was it something that they were born with? No. For the most part, they learned it as a skill that is absolutely essential to thrive in business." And then Anthony Robbins said this, and this is very powerful. Anthony Robbins said, "The difference in the quality of people's lives often comes down to the difference in the questions they consistently ask themselves." Wow, that's so powerful. I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Press, give us a thumbs like if you like this video, and share it to your friends, to your families, or even to your enemies, so that they will learn how to master resilience. To master their resilience. And please, it's very important that you give me your comments, write your comments, so that I know, tell me something, you can even put more things in this, and let me know what you think about mastering our emotions. So I want to repeat what Anthony Robbins said before I conclude. The difference in the quality of people's lives often comes down to the difference in the questions they consistently ask themselves. So thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe, like the video, and give us your comments, and we will bring another video. Please press that notification bell, so that every time we release a video, it will just notify you that we have something new. And thank you very much for listening.